Adu, a dedicated wildlife caretaker, discovers a lion cub on the brink of death and intervenes, saving its life. This act of kindness forges an unbreakable bond between them. After 7 years apart, they experienced a remarkable reunion, where an incredible event takes place, highlighting the deep connection formed years earlier. What shocking revelation awaits them during their long-awaited reunion? Can the bond between man and animal truly withstand the test of time? When the first light of dawn color the canvas of the horizon, Adu, a dedicated and proficient caretaker at the wildlife refuge, wakes up surrounded by the serene ambience of the sanctuary. He wakes up early in the morning with the goal of making sure that all animals in the sanctuary have been fed, and all of them have water, and they are comfortable in clean, nice shelters. Today, he is particularly interested in the protection of the playpen of a rowdy group of monkeys, as well as to have it made as exciting as possible. In the midst of his duties, Ado feels a vibration from his phone tucked away in his pocket. He pulls it back to find he has missed a call from an unknown number. He answers with equal measure of curiosity and wariness. He hears the voice of a worried woman. "Hello, is this Adu from the wildlife sanctuary?" she asked as her voice grew tense. "Yes, this is Adu. How can I help you today?" He paused as his eyebrows crinkled slightly with worry. The caller comes along with the name of Amelia of a well-to-do family, and they have recently adopted a lion cub from a breeder. Ado also recalls the family's joy when they were introducing the little cub into their new home. Amelia, however, breaks down when she says, "The cub, she is not very okay." As if unable to contain her tears any longer, she continues, "She is so weak, she does not want to eat or move around. I am not sure what to do." Ado's heart sinks as he listens. He knows all too well the fragile nature of young cubs and the critical care they require. "I understand your concern, Amelia," he replied in a calm manner. His experience shows him how to control his temper and remain polite. "With your permission, I could come and assess her condition in person. It is very important that the severity of her health issues is determined as soon as possible." Amelia, happy that this man seems keen to help as soon as possible, quickly agrees. "Yes, please. We just want what is best for her." Seeing this, Otto takes his medical items and heads towards the family's compound. When on the streets of the city, he contemplates about what could be experienced based in the cub's current situation. Upon arrival, Amelia and her anxious family welcome him and lead him to where the cub lies listlessly. Adu's trained eyes immediately register the distress signals labored, breathing a dull coat and sunken eyes, classic symptoms of severe illness or malnutrition. After a careful and thorough examination, Ado turns to the family, his expression grave. "I'm afraid the cub's condition is quite serious," he explains. "She needs specialized care and constant monitoring to ensure her recovery. With your permission, I'd like to take her to our sanctuary, where we have the expertise and resources to provide the care she needs." The gravity of the situation dawns on the family, and they nod in agreement without hesitation. "Please do whatever you think is best for her," Amelia responds, her voice imbued with trust and gratitude. Adu reassures them and prepares to transport the cub back to the sanctuary, hopeful that with prompt and expert care, the young lion cub will regain her strength and vitality. "If you require assistance with transportation, we can arrange for a vehicle to pick you up and bring you back to the sanctuary," Amelia suggests. Ado nods appreciatively, acknowledging the generous offer. "Thank you, that would be immensely helpful. The sooner we can get to the sanctuary, the better," he responds. Carefully, Adu picks up the cub, cradling her close to his chest. "I will take good care of her," he assures the family with determination. He promises to keep them regularly informed about her recovery with the cubs securely in his arms. Ado follows Amelia to the car that awaits them. When Ado held the cub gently in his arms while heading back to the sanctuary, there was a feeling of optimism, but at the same time, anxiety was not far off. The small body of the creature weighed down against him, but the feeling of her still could almost feel ephemeral, as if she could disappear at any moment. The car's engine was purring in a steady growl, but the atmosphere inside the car was tensely worried. Amelia sat in the front passenger seat and looked at Ado and the cub occasionally, with expression a combination of worry and hope. "She is a fighter," she murmured, closing her eyes and hiding her face in her hands for a few moments. "I can feel it." Ado nodded, his eyes fixed on Kiara, the cub's frail body barely moving. Her breathing was shallow, her fur matted, and her tiny ribs protruded with each labored breath. His heart clenched as he noticed how weak she was. Every bump in the road, every slight jolt of the car made him tense, terrified that even the smallest disturbance might worsen her condition. He stroked her gently, hoping the contact would offer her some comfort. "Wait you there, little one," he said to himself in a low voice. "We're almost there." The streets outside the window blurred past them, a chaotic mix of city life, honking cars, pedestrians crossing in a hurry, the occasional shout from a vendor. Inside the car, everything appeared to be in slow motion. When Amelia found one free, she took out her phone and immediately texted the staff at the sanctuary. "They're preparing everything," she said to Ado. "A cozy, dark room has been arranged for her, and the chief vet is already present." The words gave Ado a little relief, though he was full of thoughts. He went through everything that had happened for the past few hours. He saw a tiny cub in her worst condition. He decided to take her to the sanctuary, and now perhaps she could be saved. But beneath it all was a nagging fear. But what if they arrived back at the car only to find that it was too late? Suddenly, the car jolted violently as it hit a deep pothole in the road, shaking everyone inside. Then the car gave a very rude jerk that would make everyone inside the vehicle roll from one side of the car to the other. Ado immediately clutched the cub firmly, and she only managed to make a faint, rough noise. The weak, pathetic noise that escaped her lips made him panic. "Look out!" cried Ado to the driver, and his tone contained panic. Amelia whirled around abruptly, her eyes shocked and alarmed. "Is she okay?" she asked, shivering. The sanctuary gates finally appeared on the horizon, and Ado felt his muscles relax ever so slightly. Upon arriving at the sanctuary, he immediately calls the chief veterinarian to alert them of the cub's precarious condition. He then places the cub in a warm, secluded space away from the other animals, filled with love and a deep sense of responsibility. Ado begins the painstaking process of nursing the cub, whom he names Kiara, back to health. Unbeknownst to him, this marks the start of an incredible journey that will challenge the strength of their bond and the depth of their affection. As weeks meld into months, Kiara's condition gradually improves. Thanks to Adu's vigilant care and the sanctuary's veterinary expertise, the once frail and feeble cub blossoms before their eyes. Her fur regains its shine, and her eyes twinkle with renewed energy. Ado finds himself spending increasing amounts of time with Kiara, amazed by her recovery and inspired by the resilience of her spirit. During Kiara's recuperation, Ado keeps in touch with Amelia, sharing updates on the cub's remarkable recovery and discussing her future. Impressed by Kiara's transformation and the profound bond she has formed with Ado, Amelia extends a heartfelt proposal. "If you agree, Ado, we would be delighted for you to continue caring for Kiara at the sanctuary for a while longer. She appears to be thriving under your care, and we want what's best for her." Overwhelmed with gratitude, Ado expresses his deep appreciation for their trust and generosity. "Thank you, Amelia. Your kindness means the world to me and to Kiara. I will do everything in my power to ensure she thrives and flourishes," he promises, committed to Kiara's continued growth and well-being. "You are in safe hands," he reassures her. As the sun begins to rise, Ado eagerly makes his way to the wildlife sanctuary, anticipating his daily visit with Kiara. Stepping into her enclosure, his face lights up with a warm smile when he sees the young lioness rushing toward him, her tail flicking playfully in the air. Kiara rubs affectionately against Ado's legs, her actions radiating genuine fondness. Ado chuckles, overcome with happiness, as he hugs the affectionate cub, playfully ruffling her increasingly thick mane. As they begin their day's adventures within the sanctuary's bounds, Ado takes Kiara on explorative walks, watching with fascination as she keenly inspects her surroundings. Her eyes gleaming with wonder and curiosity, he patiently teaches her basic commands, engaging her sharp instincts with stimulating activities that cater to her growing needs. As Kiara grows, so does the depth of their bond, rooted in a profound sense of trust, respect, and heartfelt affection. However, as time passes, Adu notices subtle changes in Kiara's behavior. Her playful nudges become more forceful, her teeth and claws sharper and more pronounced. Her natural instincts start to assert themselves, seeking expression in their confined environment. The sanctuary, initially designed for smaller, less formidable animals, struggles to accommodate Kiara's increasing size and complex needs. What was once a spacious home for a young cub now feels cramped and restrictive for a rapidly maturing lioness. Ada watches with growing concern as Kiara paces with restless energy, her powerful muscles rippling beneath her glossy golden fur. Unintended incidents begin to occur, unsettling the sanctuary staff. Kiara's boisterous interactions with Ado inadvertently frighten the other animals, causing them to retreat. Her loud roars echo across the sanctuary, disrupting its peaceful atmosphere and drawing curious glances from visitors. With a heavy heart, Ado realizes the gravity of the situation. He acknowledges that Kiara's presence might endanger the other residents, and that the sanctuary's limited resources are insufficient to meet her needs for space and stimulation. The thought of authorities stepping in, potentially deeming Kiara a hazard and removing her from his care, fills him with dread. One evening, as Adu sits by Kiara's enclosure watching her sleep peacefully, he contemplates the weight of his responsibilities. His love for Kiara cannot blind him to the stark realities of her circumstances. He understands that he must find a solution that ensures Kiara's well-being while safeguarding the other sanctuary inhabitants. With a resolve born of necessity, Adu begins to explore alternative options, seeking a place where Kiara can thrive and fully express her true nature. All the while ensuring the safety and stability of the sanctuary, Adu dedicates countless hours poring over documents and engaging in numerous phone calls, driven by a resolute determination to find the perfect sanctuary for his beloved lioness Kiara. He reaches out to his network of colleagues, taps into the expertise of animal welfare organizations, and consults wildlife conservation experts to gather insights and recommendations. Months or even weeks of intensive researching and relentless pursuit is finally paid off, and a ray of light appears. One day, Ado comes across a wildlife sanctuary in Mexico that is located in a large natural reserve famous for its ability to deal with big predators. The sanctuary has long corridors that resemble animals' natural environment to ensure the animals get enough privacy to roam around and act naturally. This enthusiasm leads Ado to research about other programs of the sanctuary and discovers that they have a hard-working team of specialists that are professionals in both the rescue and nurture of large predators for release. It is quite interesting how the sanctuary aligns with the Ado's objectives of providing a safe haven where these animals can happily build new lives, knowing that they will be provided with necessary skills required for survival in the wild with some hope. Ado goes into discussions with sanctuary staff, with Kiara's story and the specifics of how she is faring in her current setting. Gradually, however, as the dialogue continues, Ado grows more assured, feeling that the sanctuary is what can offer Kiara a meaningful life. But taking Kiara through a journey in order to transport her to a new home in the Mexican wilderness is not without some complications. That is why the road from the city is really long and dangerous. One can encounter various difficulties on the way. The driver assigned to pick up the refugees by the sanctuary after entering Mexico prefers a scenic route to avoid the busy motorway, opting for the road less traveled. He is able to reduce the time of traveling significantly, but this is one of the most dangerous routes, especially for the existence of gangs and hooligans who sometimes have the habit of charging highly for anyone to pass through this route. There have been reports of increased hostility in the area, and thus arguably unsafe for anyone who would dare traverse this path. Planning to navigate this dangerous territory before nightfall, the driver hopes to avoid the perils of after-dark travel. Despite their efforts, an unexpected traffic delay slows their progress, and they find themselves entering the notorious area just as they feared. As tension mounts inside the vehicle, Ado and his team exchange anxious glances, the palpable anxiety causing their hearts to thump loudly. Suddenly, armed men emerged from the shadows, effectively blocking their path. The driver grips the steering wheel tightly as the gang members' faces, obscured by bandanas and eyes glinting with malice, demand a steep sum for passage, far more than Adu and his team had anticipated. Negotiations begin under these tense circumstances, with the safety and fate of Kiara hanging in the balance. The atmosphere grew tense as the confrontation with the gang members escalated, their hostility and threats mounting by the minute. Just when it seemed like the situation was on the brink of erupting into violence, the arrival of a rival gang drawn by the commotion added a new layer to the unfolding drama. After assessing the scene, the rival gang unexpectedly sided with Ado and his team, voicing their opinion that the demands of the initial gang were unjustifiably high. Amid the increasing chaos and the palpable tension between the two gangs, the driver leaned towards Ado and urgently whispered a strategy into his ear. He suggested that they could potentially sway the rival gang to their side by offering them a bribe, ensuring a safer passage for Ado's team back to the border. The driver reassured Ado not to be overly concerned about Kiara, as they were only a few miles away from the sanctuary. Caught between his desire to remain with Kiara and the realization of the imminent danger, Adu hesitated momentarily. With a heavy heart, he decided to follow the driver's advice and discreetly handed a thin wad of cash to the leader of the rival gang, spurred by the incentive. The rival gang formed a protective circle around Ado and his companions, escorting them back to their vehicles and facilitating their escape as they prepared to depart. Ado caught one last look at Kiara. Her eyes, wide with confusion and fear, haunted him as he silently vowed to reunite with her. As Adu sped away from the scene, his heart was a tumult of relief and regret, tormented by the notion that he had left Kiara behind, even though it was the only viable option to ensure their safety. Miles later, as they neared the border, Ado's phone vibrated with a call from the sanctuary, confirming Kiara's safe arrival. A surge of relief tinged with sadness washed over him, realizing he had missed the chance to say a proper goodbye to his beloved animal friend. 3 years later, Ado longed to see Kiara, fully aware that visiting the sanctuary in Mexico would be an expensive and complex endeavor due to his previous role as her caretaker. Determined to reunite, he wrote to the sanctuary's director, hoping to secure the necessary permissions. However, the sanctuary had undergone significant changes. The new director, a stern bureaucrat, showed little empathy for the bond between Ado and Kiara. For 4 agonizing years, Ado's requests were consistently denied, each rejection further dampening his spirits. In a last-ditch effort, Ado reached out to the driver, who had initially transported Kiara to the sanctuary. Understanding Ado's plight, the driver connected him with the former director, hoping to help bridge the gap between Ado and his cherished animal friend, moved by Adu's unwavering dedication. The former director agrees to lend a helping hand in Adu's pursuit, supported by another individual who deeply understands the profound bond they share. In 6 years, which are brimming with the spirit of relentless and constant hope, Adu's application is approved. One morning on waking, there is an envelope with the emblem of the Mexican sanctuary at the wildlife sanctuary in which Ado is working. Even though he is more than familiar with its significance, his heart literally leaps with joy as he reads the invitation to visit Kiara and witness the life she has created in her new home, which is as enthusiastic as the surroundings. In the same day, he contacts both Amelia and her parents to share fabulous updates regarding Kira's growth and his impending visit. Unfortunately, Amelia and her family cannot join him, but they wish him good luck and tell him that he should take pictures of the moments so that Amelia's family can watch Kira's further evolution in her new environment. So with the blessings and words of encouragement from his family, Ado books his journey without any second thought. All this while, his thoughts painted with the beautiful thoughts of the magical moment of the special bond that he and Kiara once had. Driven by this mixture of hope and joy, he is eagerly waiting for the day when he'll be able to see his dear friend again. When arriving at the sanctuary, of course, he is headed by the warm smiles of the staff, whose expressions begins with pride. Once he presents his letter of introduction, they lead him through winding paths which twist through enclosures containing different species of large, magnificent cats. Finally, they come to an immense plain in which, In the remote horizon, Ado realizes to see a beautiful lioness, Kiara. Her coat brilliantly glitters under the sunshine, giving her the look of golden color. Kiara is now a fully grown-up, and she turns her head towards the group of visitors. Her eyes meet Ado's, which gave an indication that they recognize each other. Then, time appears to freeze as each of them look into the eyes of the opposite person. Much as a flood of shared memories overwhelms them, then a remarkable thing happens to them. Kiara lets out a thunderous roar, a sound that vibrates across the sanctuary, sending chills down Ado's spine. It is a roar filled with joy, recognition, and an unbreakable connection. Kiara dashes towards him, rapidly closing the distance. Ado braces for impact, his heart pounding with excitement and tears streaming down his cheeks. This reunion, this profound moment, is something he has envisioned every day for the past 7 years. Kiara leaps towards him, her massive paw extended, and in a moment that defies all expectations. She wraps Ado in a heartfelt embrace. They tumble to the ground, but Ado barely notices. He is overwhelmed by the emotional weight of their reunion, a testament to their enduring friendship and love immersed in the moment. Ado savors the sensation of Kiara's warm fur against his skin and listens to her contented purrs. This reunion feels both miraculous and fated as they recline together. Ado and Kiara, two souls who have braved countless trials by each other's side, seem to escape the constraints of time. The years they spent apart, the arduous journey to the sanctuary, and the obstacles they overcame seem to vanish into thin air. At this moment, they exist simply as two friends, two allies, two hearts that have found their way back to each other. The staff at the sanctuary watch on, visibly moved, their eyes glistening with emotion. They have witnessed numerous reunions, yet none quite like this. The connection between Ado and Kiara is extraordinarily profound, defying the usual barriers of species and the passage of time. In Kiara's gaze, Ado sees a lifetime of love and appreciation, a silent thank you for the sacrifices he's made for her. In Ado's eyes, Kiara finds the steadfast loyalty of a companion who has never lost hope in her and who has always had faith in her potential. Together, they stroll through the sanctuary side by side. Ado feels a deep sense of affirmation. He made the right choice years ago. Kiara is exactly where she should be, thriving in the life she was destined to lead. As the sun sets over the sanctuary, Ado and Kiara share one final poignant moment, their bond indelibly imprinted on their hearts. Ado is acutely aware that the memory of this reunion will remain with him forever, serving as a powerful testament to the impact one life can have on another. With a smile that carries a hint of sadness, he bids farewell to Kiara, comforted by the knowledge that she will always be a part of him, no matter where their paths may lead. This extraordinary story highlights the commitment and love of a wildlife caretaker who rescued a dying lion cub, culminating in a memorable reunion 7 years later. What actions would you have taken in such a situation? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. We'd like to hear your thoughts. That's for today's story, and if you liked the video, please subscribe and give a thumbs up. See you next time.